Hello, I am Ahmed Omar, and today in this session, I'll try to stop you from repeating the same mistake I did when I started my game company. I know the title is a little bit of a clickbait, but it sort of fits the overall style of the session. So just ignore the title and bear with me while I go through the bad things and bad decisions I made while running this company. But before I give you these bad decisions and before I tell you about those mistakes, I think I should give you some background and why am I qualified to talk about this. So I'll start by telling you who I am. I am Ahmed Omar. I think this is the third time I said I'm Ahmed Omar, so I'm Ahmed Omar. I'm a certified expert, an assistant publisher, and I have been teaching game development for the past 7 years now. And currently I'm teaching game development at SE Institute. And yes, this is my actual LinkedIn and GitHub profile picture. And I also started my own game studio. This game studio was founded 2017. It's called Kandooz Studio. And we worked on more than 20 VR and game projects for multiple clients, most of them returning clients that kept getting back to us for more projects. And we have released 4 assets to the Unity Asset Store, and we are currently maintaining 2 open source projects. So one thing that we are a big company and it's like we are doing a lot of things, like we were successful and everything is happy, everything is awesome, everything is cool. But in reality, things was not like this. In reality, it was not a happy ending. We started rising and we rose quickly, only to start falling again. And hopefully rise back up. So what caused this issue? In my opinion, it can be boiled down to 7 main mistakes. So let's go through them and stop you from making them. So the first mistake, and I think this is the most important thing, and this is what caused us most of the troubles, is not defining responsibilities for everyone in the team. And when I say everyone, I mean even the founders. To give you a background of how this happened, when I started Kandooz Studio, I started as one of my co-founders and friend, and he used to be a student of mine. We started, and in the beginning, we were doing everything. And when I mean we were doing everything, I mean we doing everything. Like I was doing everything, and he was also doing everything. No one had strict responsibilities. It's like, who had the responsibility to talk to the client? It's me, and it was my partner. Who had the responsibility of putting the architecture for the project? Me, partner. Who had the responsibility of collecting requirements and making sure everything is feasible and defining the finance and defining the project prices? Me and my partner. And it works. In the beginning, it was working perfectly fine. And why change the systems? It doesn't work, right? Well, it was working fine because in the beginning, we had almost 1 project at a time. And it was only the 2 of us. But once we started getting more and more projects, having more and more people working with us, this became an issue. An example of this, one time, handling multiple projects, and one of the big clients that worked on for multiple projects, this was his first project, was his 4th project with us. He had a meeting with me, and we agreed on something. We agreed on something, and we agreed on the pricing, we agreed on the timeline and everything. And this was fine. But we were delivering multiple projects. And I didn't have the time to communicate this agreement to my partner because he was also in other meeting with another client, so things just went on without us realizing. Then the client had some issues and he sent us an email requesting some clarification about some things. And my partner, remember, he didn't know anything about the agreement I just did. And I was in another meeting, so I couldn't really tell him. He started talking to the client, he had a chat with him, and because he didn't know about our agreement, he gave him an entirely different budget, an entirely different timeline, and then the client was confused. It's like, I just agreed with your partner about this. What are you trying to do here? I thought you were professionals. How did this happen? It's like, this shouldn't happen. And this was the last time this client worked with us, even though he'd been working for us for a while now. Why did this happen? Because we didn't have clear responsibility. Once the company started getting big, we should have sat down, table, just defining what his responsibilities was, what was my responsibilities. This way, let's say only one person should be talking to the client, so that an issue like this never happened. Maybe we should have defined ways of communicating, like communicating things fast when others are busy. But if we just stuck with one person doing the meetings, one person doing other things, this issue would not have happened. And the same thing happened with the bigger team. Because now, let's say we have multiple tasks with multiple priorities. One of the employees want to work on something specific, so I just tell him, okay, go for it. And before I can communicate this to my partner didn't know that he was working on this and thought he was free, so he assigned some other task to him and accepted another project without realizing that this happened. Now this resource is busy. So please, once your company start getting bigger, start defining responsibilities, start establishing clear communication channels so that things don't go south. No one loves going south. I don't know why people say going south is bad. Maybe south is good. I have no idea. But anyway, mistake number 1 is define your responsibilities. Mistake number 2, a little bit related to it. It's not defining clear goals. And when I say clear goals, I don't just mean goals of the company. This is something that you need to define as well. I also mean goals of every individual. It's like, what is your goal out of this quarter? What are you trying to achieve this quarter? And how you will be achieving it? As well as the goals of the company. Because at one point, we were dangling multiple projects at the same time. And while handling these projects, we were also working on creating assets for other VR developers. And while working on this, we were also making a mobile game, even though our focus as a company was mainly on VR. It's like we didn't have clear, focused goals. We should have had a focus. It's like if our focus was VR, why are we making mobile games? It's like this doesn't add up. And not having clear goals made us work on and pursue multiple opportunities that are not related to each other. And this ended up wasting a lot of time. So define your goals and change them later. It's like you can change your goals every day. As long as you have them and they are defined, this is what matters. Later, when things happen, when the industry change, when something is released, maybe we change those goals to accommodate to the ever-changing market. But please define your goals. Okay, this is a weird mistake, but in the beginning, we were not hiring enough. Like, we clearly had the need for more people working with us, but we didn't. We would either take it upon ourselves, overworking ourselves to finish everything, or freelance some of the work to others. And you might think freelancing is considered hiring, right? But in reality, it's not. Like, when I say not hiring, I mean not hiring full-timers. You should always hire people to help you. Because relying in full-timer, in the beginning, it might seem that it's cost-effective, but in reality, it's not. In reality, it's way less effective than you think. We ended up spending a lot of time on freelancers that our profit margins were almost non-existent. One day, we started looking at our finances and realized that we freelanced some people a month to work on multiple projects, and we paid them maybe quadruple what we have done if we just hired them full-time. And it would have been even better for them because being hired full-time means stability. But we didn't do this, and we regret not doing it. So if there is a need for someone, please hire him. Mistake number 4 is a little bit weird, and it's quite the opposite. Hiring. Don't hire. Please don't hire anyone. I know I just told you, hire someone, but please don't. And why am I saying you should never hire someone? Actually, you should hire a lot of people, but don't just hire without first knowing the needs for the foreseeable future. So we had a criteria when we're hiring someone. Do we need him? Check. Yes, we need him. Can we afford giving him salary for the next year? Check. We can. Then we hire him. And of course, the talent plays a very big, important role here. And yeah, it might seem like a good criteria, but it's not. When we're checking if we need someone, we're checking if we need this person now. But maybe we need this person now because we are handling maybe 4 or 5 projects at the same time. But next month, after the 5 projects are done, might not have any projects at all. So now we have hired someone full-time with 1 year commitment, and maybe for the next 3 or 4 months, he will not have anything to do. You might say, but you can afford him, so it's fine, so that when the time comes and you actually need them to work, now you have the capacity to take more projects. But this is not the case. Because when people stay idle, especially talented people, they get bored. And they start hating the job. And they start looking for other opportunities. It's like, this is how it works. It's like, if I'm trying to improve myself, if my job is not challenging me, why am I staying in this job? If my job is to go to the office and do this, or even work from home and do this, then what am I doing? I should stop. And this is what was happening. It's like, talented people never stay in a place where they are not getting challenged constantly. So my advice, don't hire without checking that you are going to need this person in the foreseeable future, at least for the next 4 or 5 months. Okay, so don't just check your finance, also check your future goals. Good. Because if you don't, mistake number 5, which is making artificial projects. Remember I told you that talents don't just want to stay idle, and because this is a downtime in the company, maybe some month there is not that many projects as others, they are idle. So you think to yourself, maybe I should start creating projects and they can work on those projects, which is totally fine, do this. But don't make them artificial projects. What I mean by artificial projects, I mean projects without priority. It's like, just work on this thing while we figure something else. Because this have the opposite effect on person's morale. You will find that after a while of working on this project, remember, it doesn't have a priority. This is just, you are keeping people busy. Never keep people busy, but this is what you're doing. A new project came. And now you need some of the resources working on the project for this new project that will give money to the company. So you might think, okay, I'll take 2 of the resources currently working on this big project, and they will work on they will leave the artificial project and work on the client project. Yeah, this works. But what about the others? You know what will end up happening? The others will feel that they are not important. They're working on projects that have no value. Especially if you later stop the project entirely because you need the others. And then resume the project. You will just stop caring when they are working on this project. They will feel like they are not important enough to work on the big project. I'm just working on small and trivial and artificial projects. So don't start artificial projects is mistake number 5. This mistake is a little bit weird. Getting more projects. Why? Getting more work is a bad thing? Yeah, it's a terrible thing. Especially if you are getting more projects than you can handle now. Remember I told you that at a time we had a lot of projects, we decided to hire people for them? Well, this shouldn't be the case. You should get projects that fits your team, not get projects more than them and then hire someone else. Because what is happening sometimes is maybe you'll get some projects and suddenly you realize that you cannot find someone good enough to work with. What will end up happening is you will overwork yourself, go and work maybe 23 hours per day and sleep for 1 hour. Maybe you will overwork others as well. And no one liked being overworked. So please, don't accept projects you cannot handle now. Or if you accept projects you cannot handle now, at least have a plan of how you are going to handle them. Extend the timeline of the project, but don't just take more projects. More is not always better. The final mistake is not pursuing obvious opportunities. Just to give you a background, when we started creating VR projects for clients, there was a lack of hands and interaction systems that just works correctly. So we searched the asset store, we searched GitHub, we searched everywhere for a good interaction system and good models for the interaction system for the hands, for interacting with objects and maybe holding them and moving levers and things like this. but there were none. So, as any good developer would do, we just created our own system. And it was working fine, and we're using it in every single project we got. We're just using the same interaction system, the same hands modems, the same everything. And this was fine. But we saw an opportunity, because when we started, we searched for people doing the same thing. It's like we searched for people with such an asset, people who are selling this. We couldn't find someone selling it, so we decided, why not sell it? Which is like a big opportunity, right? And it was a big opportunity. We actually ended up selling them like 2 years later. After we could have started selling them, let's say in 2017, but we didn't. We started in 2019. And everything was ready. The opportunity was there. All the work was done. All we needed to do is just sell it. And we knew that we can do this. But for some reason, we didn't. Yeah, it would require a little bit of work. Maybe we'll assign an asset. We'll assign someone to polish the thing a little bit. Maybe write documentation for the other developer to be able to use it easily. But we didn't. It was just maybe 2 weeks of work. And this would have been something that would guarantee us passive income without ever working on it again. And we actually did do this, and it started generating income for us. But nowadays, there is tons of other developers doing the same thing. And we had a solution, you just didn't pursue the opportunity. So my advice, if there is an opportunity, even if it's not in your main goal, but it's something that will not take a lot of time from you, give it a shot. And no, it's not one shot, you will get multiple shots, but try getting one of them. And those are the 7 mistakes I did when managing a game company. I really hope you guys don't repeat them. And thank you. And if you have any questions, please send me an email at bakr@kandooz.studio. And bye-bye.